Hello friends, welcome to our fourth episode of Iron and Steel Updates. Let's begin with the good news first. India's manufacturing sector activity improved substantially in September and touched an over 8.5 years high, supported by accelerated increase in the new orders and industrial production. The Purchasing Managers Index, often referred to as PMI, increased from 52.0 in August to 56.8 in September. In PMI parlance, a print above 50 means expansion, while a score below 50 denotes contraction. The PMI punch in September was very much needed for the steel sector, since as per the data released by the government, India's domestic steel consumption during April to August period dropped to its lowest in the last 6 years, underlining the economic slowdown and slump in the infrastructure spending. The steel consumption in the first 5 months of this fiscal stood at 27.4 million tons, a 35% fall over the last year. Despite all the improvement in the steel production and the phenomenal rise in the prices, the India Ratings and Research has maintained a negative outlook on steel sector for the rest of this fiscal year. The rating agency expects an operational recovery to the pre-COVID levels only by the second half of the fiscal 2021-22. As per the report released by the rating agency, while domestic demand has shown the initial signs of recovery in September, its sustenance would depend on macroeconomic pickup from the timely government reforms and stimulus to push up the domestic consumption and investment activity. The report says that iron ore, that is one of the most important raw material in steel making, could get much costlier due to the supply disruptions. Iron ore prices could increase further substantially, with only 5 out of 19 Odisha iron ore mines being operational as on date. This could further escalate the raw material prices cost for the steel makers. The higher domestic prices of iron ore and pellets are hurting the secondary steel producers badly. The All India Induction Furnace Association has written a letter to the PMO asking for a ban on export of iron ore. The secondary steel producers contribute nearly 55% of the total production of the steel in the country. There are more than 2,000 secondary steel units across the country, which include sponge iron producers, induction furnaces, and rolling mills. Due to the high iron ore prices and its unabated exports, the pellet prices have jumped nearly 40% in the last 6 months. The NMDC is exporting large volumes of iron ore for the better realizations. On a monthly basis, nearly 10 to 11 lakh tons of ore is moving out of the country, which is double from the last year. In 2019-20, India exported 37.69 million tons of iron ore compared to only 16.15 million tons exported in 2018-19. The Indian government has directed traders to register themselves with the Steel Import Monitoring System for purchase of all iron and steel products and certain railway-related items from overseas from October 16. The move is aimed at discouraging iron and steel imports and comes at a time when the centre has stepped up the focus on domestic manufacturing under the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. While the registration was earlier mandatory for imports of about 300 items, its scope has now been widened to include about 530 more products. The Steel Ministry has also proposed incentives worth Rs 3,346 crores under the phased manufacturing program to boost domestic production of various grades and the steel that are largely imported. The Directorate General of Trade Remedies has recommended the continuation of anti-dumping duty on certain steel products imported from China, Malaysia and Korea for 5 more years and guard domestic players from the cheap inbound shipments. The DGTR has recommended the continuation of the duty of $160 per ton, $255 per ton and $155 per ton on China, Malaysia and Korea respectively for the imports of hot rolled flat products of stainless steel, especially 304 grade. The Finance Ministry will take the final decision on the continuation of these duties. As per a notification dated 1st October from DGFT, the steel manufacturers can now avail duty drawback benefits on steel supplied from their service centers, distributors, dealers, and stockyards. Duty drawback is the refund of the duties on the imported inputs for export items. With that, we conclude this episode. Have a nice time. Before leaving, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon for getting regular updates. Visit our website www.steelreporter.com and download our free iOS and Android apps at Apple Store and Google Play Store.